Hello BookTube, it's Joshua here, and I'm making a belated Poetry Thursday video. Because obviously I'm filming this right now Thursday night, but it'll probably go up either very late at night tonight or tomorrow morning. But still, I'll read you some poetry. I have Seamus Heaney here. This is his selected poems, Open to Ground. And it'll be two poets. I'll include James Merrill as well. And so I have two poems by Seamus Heaney. The first one is called Personal Helicon, for Michael Longley. As a child, they could not keep me from wells and old pumps with buckets and windlasses. I loved the dark drop, the trapped sky, the smells of waterweed, fungus, and dank moss. One in a brickyard with a rotted board top. I savored the rich crash when a bucket plummeted down at the end of a rope, so deep you saw no reflection in it. A shallow one under a dry stone ditch fructified like any aquarium. When you dragged out long roots from the soft mulch, a white face hovered over the bottom. Others had echoes, gave back your own call with a clean new music in it. And one was scaresome, for there, out of ferns and tall foxgloves, a rat slapped across my reflection. Now, to pry into roots, to finger slime, to stare, big-eyed narcissus, into some spring is beneath all adult dignity. I rhyme to see myself, to set the darkness echoing. So I really like that poem. Just the kind of I really loved all of Seamus Heaney's poems because it's always relating to some experience, telling a story. I suppose a lot of modern poetry tends to not do that, I guess. Just get caught up in the language only without really relating a coherent experience. And I also love this poem specifically because it's just about why you would write poetry. It's I rhyme to see myself and set the darkness echoing. I just love those lines, and I love all these descriptions which are so unique about wells. The second poem by Seamus Heaney is called Requiem for the Croppies. And this is a sonnet, I believe. I think it's a Petrarchan sonnet, and I've only read, say, like the first two books of in this selection. I've only read like the first part of the book, and there are a couple of different sonnets in it. But I find that Seamus Heaney always writes sonnets in a very unique way. He writes it in his own voice, and he often uses like half rhymes. It's just very interesting the way he does it. So this is Requiem for the Croppies. The pockets of our greatcoats full of barley. No kitchens on the run, no striking camp. We moved quick and sudden in our own country. The priest lay behind ditches with the tramp. A people, hardly marching, on the hike. We found new tactics happening each day. We'd cut through reins and rider with the pike and stampede cattle into infantry. Then retreat through hedges where cavalry must be thrown. Until, on Vinegar Hill, the fatal conclave. Terrorist thousands died, shaking scythes at cannon. The hillside blushed, soaked in our broken wave. They buried us without shroud or coffin, and in August the barley grew up out of the grave. So I really like that poem. I assume this is talking about a historical event, but I don't know much of, I assume, Irish history. But still, the poem I found very effective. I love this one line. Well, Yeah, I'm moved by this one line, and struck by the hillside blushed, soaked in our broken wave. Um, it just paints such a vivid and unique picture. Um, yeah, that's Seamus Heaney. I'm slowly going through his poems, often rereading the ones that I have already read, and just getting a lot of enjoyment out of it. Uh, the second poet is James Merrill, and I'll just read you, I think, just one poem by him. It's I think I've actually read this poem before on this channel, but I'll read it again because I love it so much. It's called A Tenancy, for David Jackson. Something in the light of this March afternoon recalls that first and dazzling one of 1946. I sat elated in my old clothes, in the first of several furnished rooms, head cocked for the kind of sound that is recognized only when heard. A fresh snowfall muffled the road, unplowed to leave blanker and brighter the bright blank page turned overnight. A yellow pencil in mid-air kept sketching unfamiliar numerals, the 9 and 6 forming a stereoscope through which to seize the real old-fashioned winter of my landlord's phrase, through which the ponderous idée reçue of oak, velour, crochet, also the mantel's baby figures, value told me in some detail at the outset, might be plumbed for signs I should not know until I saw them. But the objects, innocent as we all once were, of annual depreciation, the more I looked grew shallower, pined under a luminous plaid robe thrown over us by the twin mullions, sashes, and unequal oblong panes of windows and storm windows. These, washed in a rage, then left to dry unpolished, projected onto the inmost wall ghosts of the storm, like pebbles under water. And indeed, from within, ripples of heat had begun visibly bearing up and away the bouquets and wreaths of a quarter-century. Let them go. What did I want with them? It was time to change that wallpaper. Brittle, sallow in the new radiance, time to set the last wreath floating out above the dead, to sweep up flowers. The dance had ended. It was light. The men looked tired and awkward in their uniforms. I sat, head thrown back, and with the dried stains of light on my own cheeks, proposed this bargain with the source of light. That given a few years more, 7 or 10, or what seemed vast, 15, to spend in love, in a country not at war, I would give in return all I had. All? A little sun rose in my throat. The lease was drawn. I did not even feel the time expire. I feel it, though, today, in this new room, mine with my things and thoughts, a view of housetops, treetops, the walls bare. A changing light is deepening, is changing to a gilt ballroom chair, a chair bound to break under someone before long. I let the light change also me. The body that lived through that day, and the sufficient love and relative peace of those short years, is now not mine. Would it be called a soul? It knows, at any rate, that when the light dies and the bell rings, its leaner veteran will rise to face partners not recognized, until drunk young again and gowned in changing flushes. And strange strains will rise, the bone-tipped baton beating, rapid, faint, from the street below, from my depressions, from the doorbell which rings. 1 foot asleep, I hop to let my 3 friends in. They stamp themselves free of the spring's last snow, or so we hope. One has brought violets in a pot. The second, wine. The best his open, empty hand. Now in the room, the sun is shining like a lamp. I put the flowers where I need them most, and then, not asking why they come, invite the visitors to sit. If I am host at last, it is of little more than my own past. May others be at home in it. So that's the poem. Just brilliant. I'm incredibly moved by reading it. Especially at the end here. I love this one gesture, this one line, the best his open empty hand. I feel like that image is just so exemplary of James Merrill and James Merrill's poetry in general. Just a very open person and a very kind of warm, loving and open type of poetry. I feel like it's a poetry very much based on human connection, which I just love. It's why I love James Merrill, and it's why I love that poem. Yeah, so that was James Merrill and Seamus Heaney. Thank you for watching BookTube. I hope you guys enjoyed some of the poetry, and goodbye.